Good morning. My name is Shamayita basu. I'm attached for the biology classes of Apti Plus. So this will be the first class, and it will be a introductory video of the topic cell. So cell, as we all know, it's the basic fundamental unit of life. The cell is the thing for which we human beings and any other living organism is considered to be a living organism. Okay, whether it's a plant, it's an animal, or it's a microorganism, or it's human being like us. Okay, and whenever we are talking about cell, the most important part or the concept will be the cell organelles and the cell matrix. So the cell matrix is known as the cytoplasm, as we all know. So the cytoplasm will mainly consist of the cytoplasm will mainly consist of the the fluid or the matrix portion, and some of the main components that will be present in the cytoplasm will include obviously water. About 70 to 80% will be water. And in this water, besides water, the important associated things that will be present, there will be the minerals and the important ions, means the electrolytes, say for example sodium, calcium. Okay, and also obviously the different organic molecules which actually make us make our body or our constitution, that is the proteins, carbohydrates, and the fats. Okay. Now, after cytoplasm, the next most important thing of a cell will be the different cell organelles. Okay, so whenever we are talking about cell organelles, so whenever we are talking about cell organelles, the most important thing over here will be the concept why they are known as cell organelles, like why the term organelles, because these are organ-like structures, they're having their own structure, but since they are present, they are part of a cell, so we cannot call them as organs. Okay, so they will be cell organelles. Now, the most some of the there are various cell organelles depending on whether it's a bacterial cell or a plant cell or an animal cell, but the main common organelles will be, the first or the most important one will be mitochondria. So mitochondria, as we all know, it's the powerhouse of the cell. Why? Because it is producing ATP, which is the main source of energy for us. Secondly, we will be having the Golgi body. Now, Golgi body, most important thing is protein packaging, because inside our body 70 to 80% constitutes the proteins, because proteins are mainly the building blocks of our life or of our body. So these proteins, they need to be, in order to be functionally active, biologically active, they need to undergo some structural modifications which occur in the Golgi body. Okay, so that is the importance of Golgi body. Next, we will be coming to ER. ER is the endoplasmic reticulum. So this endoplasmic reticulum is usually of two types. One is the rough endoplasmic reticulum or RER, and the other one is the SER or the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. So RER is basically the rough endoplasmic reticulum, and why it's rough? Because on its surface the ribosomes are present. Okay, so on the surface of RER we have the ribosomes. Okay, and what are these ribosomes important for? These ribosomes are mainly the site of protein synthesis inside our body. Okay, so since these ribosomes will be present on the RER or the rough endoplasmic reticulum, so the job of rough endoplasmic reticulum will be protein synthesis. Okay, and the second type of ER, that is the smooth endoplasmic reticulum or ACR, that will be responsible for lipid synthesis. Okay, and lipid is a very important constituent of our cell. Okay, why it's a very important constituent of our cell? Because whenever we are talking about cell, just as the cell organelles are very much important, which I am talking about right now, the cell membrane or the cytoplasmic membrane or the plasma membrane, they all of them are the same thing. So that is also a very important constituent whenever we are talking about a cell. Okay, and this cytoplasmic membrane or the plasma membrane is actually made up of a lipid bilayer. Okay, so it's actually made up of a lipid bilayer. So so by this we can understand why lipid is a very much important component, because whenever we are talking about a bilayer means a double layer is there. Okay, so anything which is present in double, that means the amount is very much huge or larger. Okay, so in order to form this lipid bilayer, lipid synthesis is very much important, which is done by SCR. Okay, and because of this lipid bilayer, the cytoplasmic membrane or the plasma membrane is also known as a sandwich model. Okay, because between the two lipid layers, in between we have the different embedded proteins. Okay, which are also known as the transmembrane proteins. Okay, so since in between this two layer, these proteins are embedded, which are known as the transmembrane proteins. They are also known as the integral proteins because they are becoming a part of the cell membrane. So that's why it's exactly, it resembles a sandwich, and hence it's also known as a sandwich model. Okay. So after this, the next important cell organelle can be our chloroplast. Okay, now chloroplast is something which will only be present in a plant cell. So the main function of chloroplast, so chloroplast is our next important cell organelle. So the main function of chloroplast, as we all know, is photosynthesis. Okay, so chloroplast is actually the site of photosynthesis, we can say, and hence it will only be present in the plants, obviously the green plants, because the green plants will be producing chlorophyll, which will be present inside the chloroplast. Okay, so inside the chloroplast we will be having the chlorophyll, which is a very important green colored pigment, absolutely necessary for photosynthesis. Okay, and this chlorophyll will actually be present inside the thylakoids. Okay, and these thylakoids are actually a part or integral part or component of chloroplast. Okay, so these thylakoids are nothing but they look like a stack of coins. Okay, so each of those coins will be known as thylakoid. Okay, each of those sac-like or coin-like structure, each of them will be known as thylakoid, and inside those thylakoid chlorophyll will be produced, and many such thylakoids will be arranged just like stack of coins, and that will be known as the grana. Grana or granum. Grana will be the plural form, granum will be the singular form. Okay, so this is all about chloroplast, which is a very important organelle whenever we are talking about photosynthesis. Hence it will be present only in the green plants, and also in some bacteria like cyanobacteria, green sulfur bacteria and purple sulfur bacteria. These are some special microorganisms which will be having chlorophyll, and hence they will be able to photosynthesize. Okay, next important organelle that we can talk about is the vacuole. Okay, now vacuole is again something which is present both in plant cell and animal cell, and the most important function of vacuole is storing reserve food material and waste materials temporarily. Okay, so it is basically a storage compartment for both food as well as, so it will store our reserve food that our body needs to store, reserve which is extra, and also waste. Okay, so waste means obviously those products, those food materials or those products which our body will not require. Okay, so that will also be stored inside our body temporarily. After some period of time it will be excreted, okay, either via urine or via the fecal matter. And whenever we are talking about food, that will also be temporarily stored, isn't it? When our body will be under stress conditions, then that reserved food will be utilized by our body. Okay, so vacuole is again very important because it will be storing the important reserve food materials. Okay, now as I was talking about cell membrane, I should always also mention about the cell wall. Now cell wall is something which is never present in an animal cell. Okay, it is mainly present in a plant cell. Okay, why it's present in a plant cell and never in an animal cell? Because the main component of cell wall is cellulose. Okay, the main component of cell wall is cellulose, and we also have hemicellulose and pectin. A little bit of pectin is also there. Okay, but the main thing, see, cellulose and hemicellulose, they are just like just chemical modifications, slight chemical modifications of each other, so they are mainly the same thing. And also little bit of pectin is present whenever we are talking about the chemical constitution of cell wall. Okay, now this cellulose thing, it is not digestible in us, in like human beings. Okay, so what happens in human beings and also animals, like since it's not present, cell wall is not present in the animal cell. Okay, why? Because the cellulose cannot be digested by us, because we do not have the enzyme required for digesting cellulose, that is cellulase. Okay, so the plants have this enzyme but we don't have, and that's the reason why the plants have cellulose, means a cell wall. Cellulose is the main component, so the plants are having this cell wall, but the animal cells are not having cell wall. Okay, so I think that's a very just idea about the cell and the cell organelles. Thank you very much.